outside of Clemson losing at home to LSU, which wasn't a great look for your overwhelming preseason favorite, the ACC had a really good week. But the result that's going to fly under the radar in this conference by a lot is what Jaron Keawe-Sagapolutele did on Saturday night on a classic Pac-12 after dark matchup, RIP, at Reser Stadium. On the road, the true freshman looked like a fifth-year senior. He stepped up, went 20 of 30, 234, 3 touchdowns, didn't flinch at anything. I mean, this was from the moment he first threw the ball. He had no turnovers. He leads Cal to a dominant 34-15 win. They had 14 points in the first quarter. Cal's defense played well. I picked Oregon State to win this game because there was more continuity there. They're at home and they're starting a true freshman on the road. Cal clearly started JKS for very good reason, and that's that he is ready to go. Remember, he beat out Devin Brown, the Ohio State transfer, who's been around college football for longer. And JKS came into the fold and said, he flipped. There was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes you don't need to know about. But he flipped from Cal to Oregon, which was a surprise to everyone, and then went back to Cal because that's where he was always intending to be. One of the reasons he wanted to be there, he wanted to play right away. He'd be sitting at Oregon right now. That might, based on 1 week against an FCS opponent, admittedly, go well for Dante Moore. But for JKS, he knew he could go and play immediately to Power 4 school. Oh, could he ever? And did he on Saturday night? This was a masterclass from JKS. Completing 66% of his throws, not turning the ball over. He wasn't dinking and dunking. This dude was taking shots. He was slinging it, showcasing the arm talent that made him a blue chip quarterback prospect. And when I watched him, I tried my hardest to find another comparison in my head. And I know I tweeted about a different one because I was just setting something in the moment and wanted people to be aware of what was going on at Reser Stadium because they might not have been super dialed in to that Pac-12 ACC battle between Cal and Oregon State. I kept watching him and I kept seeing Michael Penix. Not Tua. I saw Penix. The deep ball accuracy is off the charts. He's got a couple of different arm angles that he showcased. The way it comes out of his hand, and yes, it's because he's a lefty, but holy smokes. If you put up, I don't have the technological wherewithal to do this, maybe ChatGPT does. If you put up a side-by-side of JKS and Penix when he played at Reser Stadium back in 2023, I don't know how much difference you would see. Probably not much. It was raining that day in 2023, and I don't think it was absolutely pouring. It might have been drizzling. I don't remember the exact forecast on Saturday night in Corvallis. But man, JKS, if you didn't watch, you just need to go watch a couple throws, and you'll go, yep, right there. That's a guy. That's a guy. That's a dude with a bunch of receivers that, let's be honest, most of us have not heard of and weren't really aware of because every single player, it felt like for Cal, changed going into this season. It's one of the reasons myself and others were down on the Bears coming into this year. Ron Rivera is there as the GM trying to jumpstart the program. JKS is a guy that looks like you can do it with. Maybe this is a week 1 overreaction. Maybe Oregon State just isn't that good. I didn't notice guys running wide open and free. Trent Bray was calling the defense. I know he's pretty good at that. And his guys looked like they were in good position most of the time. That's one of the things that called me back to Penix and those Washington receivers is I went, man, you're just throwing 50-50 balls that are like 80-20 balls all of a sudden. The pinpoint accuracy was crazy good. Crazy good. So he popped. Cal ran the ball well enough. And I do want to get to Oregon State, and I will in just a moment. For those of you Beavs fans out there that have been with me for a long time, I don't think it's disaster time for Oregon State. This was definitely an outright lose vibe. This is a good lean win outcome for Cal. The quality of opponent prevents this from being an outright win, but boy, should you be excited about what you could have at quarterback here. You keep JKS in Berkeley, man, he looks like he's got the potential to be special. True freshmen don't go out in any environment typically and look like that on the road in their very first game. It's not supposed to look like that. It's supposed to be harder He made it look very easy. He was cool, calm, collected, poised, and he plays next week in what will almost certainly be a win because they are playing Texas Southern at home, and notably Cal has never lost to a vastly inferior opponent. They will be fine. Minnesota the following week is when we'll really start to learn things about this Cal team, but then the schedule is really manageable. I picked him to miss a bowl game this year because I just wasn't that sure about the team. And what are you doing at quarterback? Is Devin Brown that guy? Are you really starting a true freshman and letting him take his lumps? And I'm supportive of starting a true freshman, letting him take some lumps and building for the future like Bryce Underwood at Michigan. But man, this schedule is Minnesota, at San Diego State, at Boston College, Duke and North Carolina at home, at Virginia Tech, Virginia, at Louisville, at Stanford and SMU. There's no Clemson in there. There's no Miami in there. I think this is an incredibly workable schedule, and it's just one game. Let's not overreact to one game. He also carried it twice for 30 yards. He had a 25-yard run, so dude can move a little bit as well. But that was an incredibly impressive performance. For Oregon State, on the other side of things, disastrous start to the season. Outright lose vibe. This was bad. At home, week 1, veteran quarterback that has been around college football for a while, and the offense looks inept. Against a Cal team that is brand new, you're in front of the home fans. Yikes. That was a yikes. A major, major yikes. It does not have to spell the end of the season. It does mean there are some pretty serious things to fix. Kind of like Arch Manning at Texas. The bad week needs to be called out as that was a horrible performance. It doesn't have to define the rest of the season. It is just one game. Even though we missed football for such a long time, the season is very long. And a lot of things can change. Last year, things changed from the first half to the second half in a bad way for Oregon State. Now Trent Bray has to put the shoe on the other foot from this first game. So the Beavs have a number of things they need to fix. First, and by the way, Malik Murphy being animated on the sideline, I'm here for it. Totally here for it. I would be far more upset, frankly, if I were an Oregon State fan, watched that performance, and everybody was complacent. Well, we tried our hardest. What? No. You should be upset. This is a program that wants to compete going into the Pac-12 next year once the league is fully rebuilt, and that didn't look like a team that's going to do it. First and foremost, they have to be able to run the football better. They just do. The big guys up front have to be able to create more lanes. You can't run for 70 yards on under 3 yards a carry. You're not going to beat a bunch of teams on this Oregon State schedule. They've got Fresno State at home this week. They're favored by less than a field goal. You better find a way to win that game. Then they play Texas Tech and Oregon. This Fresno State game is the most must-win moment of the Trent Bray era because I don't see how they're winning at Texas Tech or at Oregon. And then they play Houston out of the Big 12. App State, Wake Forest, Lafayette, Washington State, Sam Houston, Tulsa, and Washington State again. The back half is more favorable. Sure, you have to find a way. By the time that Wake Forest game comes around, they struggled with Kennesaw State, by the way, in Jake Dickert's first game. So let's not get any ideas that they're going to be in Indiana this year with a bunch of new players. By the time you get past that Houston game and you get to App State and Wake Forest, you need to have a win on the resume. I mean, that Houston game, it's not unwinnable. It's at home, but you better figure it out. You better win against Fresno State this week. You better find a way to not be 0-5 going into the Appalachian State game because that could spell the end for Trent Bray. But they have to be able to run the football better, and the whole offensive operation, it has to improve. It has to, and if it doesn't improve, Trent Bray could be a 2-and-done head coach. Kalen DeBoer is on track at the moment. If things do not change in a significant way, I think to be a 2-and-done at Alabama. And Trent Bray could be the same in Corvallis. That is not overstating things in my view, depending on the administration's willingness to pony up a buyout there. I don't think they gave him some massive contract, but I don't know what the funding situation looks like over there. I'm not going to go into that. But the football was bad. They have to find a way to run the ball. Also, I remember taking some flack from Beaver fans for pointing this out in the offseason. I would just like to come back to it on a one-game sample size, albeit I question, outside of Trent Walker, who's Malik Murphy throwing the football to consistently. Walker in this game had 9 catches, I believe, for 136 yards. Okay? So he's good. We knew that. Everybody else combined, regardless of position, 12 catches for 112 yards. That's not sustainable. Run the ball, find a reliable second weapon, at least get the tight ends involved, do whatever you have to do to make the offense improve. But yeah, there need to be some pretty sizable changes in Corvallis, or could be a head coaching opening, because at Texas Tech, at Oregon, I don't know how this version of Oregon State is winning those games. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time, and until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.